You walk into a room and completely forget why you went there. You put your keys down and 2 minutes later you can't find them. You're reading something and realize you have no idea what you just read. Your brain is constantly forgetting things you did seconds ago, and it's not because you're losing your mind. Have you ever driven somewhere and arrived with zero memory of the drive? Or locked your front door but then immediately wondered if you actually locked it? Or introduced yourself to someone you already met before? This isn't early dementia. This is absent-mindedness, when you do things on autopilot without paying attention, so your brain never properly records the memory. And it's happening to you constantly, making you feel forgetful and unreliable when actually your memory is working exactly as designed. The problem isn't your memory, it's your attention. Absent-mindedness happens when you perform actions without conscious attention. Your brain can run familiar tasks on autopilot while your conscious mind thinks about other things. This is actually useful. It lets you do routine things efficiently without using mental energy. But the downside is, if you're not paying attention when you do something, you don't form a strong memory of doing it. Later, you can't remember if you did it because the memory was never really created. The classic example is forgetting where you put something. You set your phone down while thinking about something else. Your brain processed the action on autopilot without conscious awareness. Later, you have no memory of where you put it because you were not paying attention when you did it. The memory never formed properly. This creates huge frustration. You feel like you're constantly forgetting things. You double-check whether you locked doors or turned off the stove because you can't remember doing it. You lose items frequently. You forget conversations you had or things people told you, but it's not really a memory problem. Your memory would work fine if you were paying attention. The problem is divided attention and autopilot mode erasing experiences before they even become memories. Let me show you where absent-mindedness causes problems. The most common is losing objects. You put something down without thinking about it. Phone, keys, wallet, glasses, you set them somewhere while your mind is elsewhere. Later, you have no memory of where because absent-mindedness means no memory was encoded. You search frantically for something that is actually in an obvious place, you just don't remember putting it there. Forgetting whether you did something is another big one. Did you take your medication this morning? Did you send that email? Did you lock the car? You genuinely can't remember because you did it absent-mindedly. This leads to double-checking constantly, or sometimes forgetting important tasks because you convince yourself you already did them when you didn't. Social situations get awkward because of absent-mindedness. Someone tells you their name, and 30 seconds later you've forgotten it because you weren't really paying attention when they said it. Or you run into someone and can't remember if you've met them before because that previous meeting happened while you were absent-minded. People think you're rude or don't care when actually you just weren't mentally present. Reading and learning suffer massively. You're reading a page and suddenly realize you have no idea what you just read. Your eyes moved across the words, but your mind was elsewhere. Absent-mindedness made the reading not stick. Students often reread the same material multiple times because absent-minded reading doesn't create memories. Conversations happen where you're physically there but mentally absent. Someone is talking to you and you're nodding along but not actually processing what they're saying. Later, they reference something from that conversation and you have no memory of it. This damages relationships because people feel like you don't listen or care. Safety issues come from absent-minded driving. You're operating a vehicle on autopilot while your conscious mind is completely elsewhere. You arrive at your destination with no memory of the drive. This is dangerous because absent-minded drivers miss important details and react slower to hazards. Habits become uncertain because of absent-mindedness. You can't remember if you brushed your teeth or took your vitamins because you do these things so automatically that memory doesn't form. You might skip important routine tasks because you incorrectly remember doing them when you didn't. So how do you fight absent-mindedness? How do you stay present enough to actually remember what you do? First, practice deliberate attention for important actions. When you do something you need to remember, Consciously focus on it for a few seconds. Put your keys down and actually think, "I'm putting my keys on the kitchen counter." That moment of attention creates a memory you can access later. Second, create unusual associations. Your brain remembers unusual things better than routine things. If you put your phone somewhere weird, you'll remember it. If you do something the exact same way every time, it becomes autopilot and creates no memory. Adding small variations keeps your brain engaged. Third, use external memory aids. Don't rely on remembering if you took your medication. Use a pill organizer. Don't trust your memory about locking the door. Develop a ritual, like tugging the door handle 3 times so the unusual action creates a memory. Offload memory requirements to systems rather than fighting absent-mindedness. Fourth, reduce mental multitasking. Absent-mindedness happens most when your attention is split. If you're thinking about work while making breakfast, you'll forget whether you turned off the stove. Single task during important moments to ensure attention and memory formation. Fifth, use verbal cues. Talk yourself through actions you need to remember. "I'm locking the door now," said out loud creates stronger memory than silent action. The verbal component engages your brain more fully and fights autopilot. Sixth, place important items in consistent locations. If your keys always go in the same bowl, you don't need to remember where you put them. Consistency fights absent-mindedness by removing the memory requirement entirely. Seventh, improve overall attention skills. Meditation and mindfulness practice actually help with absent-mindedness by training your brain to stay present. You can't eliminate autopilot mode, but you can get better at noticing when you've gone absent-minded and bringing attention back. Absent-mindedness is making you feel forgetful when actually it's an attention problem, not a memory problem. You do things on autopilot without conscious awareness, so memories don't form properly. Later, you can't remember what you did because you never really paid attention in the first place. This is incredibly common and happens to everyone. It's not a sign of cognitive decline or memory disease. It's just how brains work. They run routine tasks automatically to save mental energy. The cost is that automatic tasks don't create strong memories. Understanding absent-mindedness helps you see where the real problem is. Instead of trying to fix your memory, you need to manage your attention. Deliberately focus on important moments. Create external systems. Reduce multitasking. Use cues that force attention. You'll never eliminate absent-mindedness completely. Your brain needs autopilot mode to function efficiently, but you can minimize the problems it causes by being strategic about when you demand attention, and when you use systems that don't require memory at all. The next time you forget where you put something, or can't remember if you did something, recognize it as absent-mindedness. You weren't paying attention when it happened, so no memory formed. That's normal. Now you know the solution is better attention management, not better memory. Subscribe to learn more about memory biases affecting your daily life.